Picasso said, "A painting is not thought out and fixed beforehand. While one is painting it, it follows the mobility of one's thoughts." In the post-Renaissance era, 1600s and 1700s, artists like El Greco, Rembrandt, Goya, Turner, and Daumier began to let go of the approach of highly rendered realism established in the Renaissance and somewhat codified since then, and make paintings that were looser and more free. Then, in the 1800s, a group of artists known as the Impressionists brought forth an explosion of creativity and looseness. They experimented with color, form, light, and brushstrokes. It was these events, the events of the 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s, that established looseness as an important element in painting and a prized aspect used by artists. As the 20th century dawned, artists like Picasso, Matisse, Hoff Klint, Kandinsky, and Duchamp were taking artistic visions further, moving into abstraction and even questioning just what art is. And it was the challenging visions, which included looseness, set down by these daring artists and other artists of like mind, that set the stage and the foundation for all of the art of the 20th century. Looseness might be said to be the opposite of tightness. And tightness is a feeling in the painting. Tightness might be said to be one of those things that you can't fully understand until you achieve looseness. It's like with dance. One of the first things you hear as a dance student is loosen up. Don't be so tight. Let it happen. Which of course the young dance student doesn't understand because they don't have the experience and technical proficiency to apply to the movements. Loosening up takes time and experience. It's hard to force looseness.
So you better get ready.
The same idea holds true for music.
You can come as you are, but pay as you go. Pay as you go.
For writing, or any of the other arts. It might be fair to say that looseness equates with naturalness. With painting, it's basically the same. Naturalness is what you're striving for. No matter what style you're using, the painting should look natural, inevitable, as if the paint just jumped on the surface and found its perfect spot. Of course, to achieve naturalness, you have to be familiar with your tools. You have to be able to use your tools comfortably and efficiently. And of course, this implies technical proficiency. This is a major factor in overcoming tightness and obtaining looseness. But remember, technical proficiency doesn't necessarily mean realistic skill. It has to do with using your tools appropriately to express your vision. The best technical proficiency is when the technique isn't seen, when the feelings and concepts are the things you see before the technique. It's helpful for looseness to work at arm's distance rather than right up on the painting. This allows you to see the relationships in the painting as they unfold. Another thing which helps overcome tightness and achieve looseness is a good working process. And this generally includes the idea of working all over. This means to keep your eye on the whole painting, spreading the colors, tones, shapes, edges, and sizes all around rather than finishing one area first. This tends to be conducive to creating harmony, which is one of the most important aspects of painting and an aspect that tends to lead to looseness. You have to keep in mind the whole painting and not get caught up in specifics at the expense of the whole. There are three elements which tend towards tightness: inaccurate drawing, weak composition, and unattended to edges. Inaccurate drawing usually has to do with not drawing a representational form well, or with abstraction having an unintended awkward shape. In this painting by a primitive artist, the figures are stiff and inaccurate. In this painting by the famous artist Constable, the figures are more accurately drawn and more natural. Notice how the figures in this primitive painting have a feeling of stiffness. Weak composition generally means that the painting doesn't have a good architectural design. This painting by a novice artist is lacking in structure and composition. This painting by the well-known artist Juan Miró has an intentional composition with good negative shapes. In this novice painting, the composition seems weak and ill-proportioned. This painting by Bonnard is clearly composed with structural composition in mind. It seems settled and has good proportions. Unattended to edges means that there are problems with the edges. They're too hard, too soft, too jagged, or too regular, or in some way caustic and uncomfortable. In this primitive work, the edges are overly hard. The forms look cut out. In this primitive painting, all the edges have the same flavor. In this painting, like the others, the hard edges make the forms look cut out. There doesn't seem to be any attention given to the edges. In this painting by well-known artist Andrew Wyeth, the edges feel attended to. Things don't feel cut out and pasted on. There's good passage through the edges. In this painting by Constable, the edges feel soft and easy. The same is true of this Renoir painting. So in summary, we can say that looseness is a very desirable trait for artists. It's not impossible to achieve, it just takes time and diligence. Being aware of the mindsets and qualities that lead to tightness is the beginning. Applying yourself to the problem of looseness is important.